Growing beets as food is traceable to the Mediterranean as far back as 2000 BC. In the 1800s, agricultural scientists in Germany developed the sugar beet. Growing white-colored sugar beets has become a primary source of white sugar, sucrose, along with sugar cane. The primary beets grown in gardens for eating are known as garden beets. Eastern Europeans are especially fond of growing beets for borsch, a beet-based soup. Garden beets are close relatives to spinach and chard. When to plant garden beets are cold hardy plants. Seeds can be planted directly into the garden as early as 4 weeks before your last frost date. Beet varieties generally take 50 to 55 days to mature. For a spring crop, plant beets as soon as the soil dries out and you can work it, typically from March to mid-May, depending on your climate. If your springs are wet and cold, it is critical you do not plant if your soil is still holding water. The seeds will not germinate in waterlogged soil. For continuous harvest, make successive planting every 2 weeks into early summer or up to soil temperatures of 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Beets grow best in soil temperatures of 60 degrees to 65 degrees Fahrenheit. For a full harvest, begin planting again 8 weeks before your first expected frost date. Planting beets consecutively rather than one big crop will provide smaller, more tender beets throughout the season. Winter crops. If you live in a mild winter area, beets can be planted in the fall with consecutive plantings throughout winter and into spring. Where to plant. Planting seeds in full sun will help your beet plants to establish better roots. If you prefer beet greens, planting in partial shade will produce a higher yield of leafy greens. Beets prefer sandy soils rich in organic matter and retains moisture yet drains well enough to prevent standing water. Preparing the soil. Like any root crop, you'll get the best results planting in soil that is root and rock-free. Loose soil is critical for proper development of the roots. If all you have is rocky soil, sift the planting area a minimum of 6 down. Deeply till the soil, and then smooth the surface in order to prepare a good seed bed. If your soil is heavy clay, hard, or alkaline, mix in an inch or so of compost. The optimum pH range is between 6 and 6.5. Beets do not grow well in high acidic soils. A pH lower than 6, boron is required for all plant growth and beets use boron inefficiently. Corky black areas in the roots indicate boron deficiency. Boron is less available to the plant in soils with high pH and high organic matter. Before planting, incorporate up to 2 to 4 inches of well-composted organic matter and work it into the top 6 inches of soil. Use only well-composted manure. Manure that is too fresh can cause forked roots. Sprinkle and till in a bit of wood ash, out of your wood stove or fire pit, if handy. Its rich supply of potassium enhances root growth. Seeds and germination. Before planting, soak seeds for 12 hours to stimulate germination. This is especially important in late summer when the weather is hot and precipitation is sparse. Seeds will germinate in temperatures as low as 41 degrees Fahrenheit, 42 days. A soil temperature of 60 degrees Fahrenheit will take approximately 10 days to germinate. Your seeds should last about 4 years from your initial purchase date. Getting started indoors. Although beets have been started indoors, we do not recommend it for a couple reasons. First, being a cool weather crop, beet seeds can be planted very early in the season and planted over a period of time. An indoor start is not necessary to receive a good harvest. Second, beets are a root crop and root crops do best when the roots are left undisturbed.